Okay, so I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, and I know that you also already had a blockchain course or sessions about blockchain. I'm here with Bitcoin for Fairness because I believe that Bitcoin is a possibility to transact money freely all around the world, in and out of your country, where nobody can take your money away from you because it's uncensorable, and also nobody can freeze your account like with a bank account and things like that. And I want to explain why that is the case, what the unique properties of Bitcoin are. And my goal is to be here to speak with you because I think it's very important that you young people have the opportunity to also be a part of the new developments in this space, because there will be a lot of jobs to be done. You can be a developer, whatever, you know. And so I was here in Bitcoin Ekasi in South Africa, which is a circular economy. They are earning Bitcoin, they are spending Bitcoin, and I was there to bring them some infrastructure like hardware wallets and a Bitcoin and Lightning node. And so that's what we do here, basically, giving talks and explaining what Bitcoin is. So Bitcoin was discovered in 2008, and the first block of the Bitcoin blockchain was mined on January the 3rd in 2009. And the founder, who we all don't know who it is, with the name Satoshi Nakamoto, wrote the white paper for the software, or the Bitcoin software, and called it a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And so the idea was to be money for the internet. There have been a lot of tries already to find out a way to have digital money that is unforgeable and unstoppable. So the idea behind Bitcoin was definitely also connected to the big financial crisis in 2008, 2009. And Satoshi Nakamoto wrote about this also in the white paper, saying that commerce on the internet is depending on financial institutions as third parties, so basically like banks. But this doesn't really work well, as we can see with the financial problems we had in that years. And so this is basically the first block of the Bitcoin blockchain, and Satoshi Nakamoto wrote in it the Times, and he meant the paper The Times, and the headline of that day, which was Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. So it's directly connected to this financial crisis, and the goal was to have a financial system and money that works without intermediaries, without banks. And as I said before, already 20 years before, people, developers, coders, cryptographers, mathematicians tried to find ways to make money unique. Because if you think of money like a data file, like a PDF, for instance, you can forge a PDF. You can say, I can send you a PDF and say, that's the original. I only have one version of that. And then I can send hundreds of the same versions to other people and say the same. And if you can do that with money, then the money is worthless, of course. And so Satoshi Nakamoto's big invention was to combine the technology of blockchain with cryptography, mathematics, and all the other forms of digital money that all had flaws, and was able to prevent this so-called double spending. And that's basically what I said before. Yeah, you want to have a digital coin that's unique, that you can send to someone else if you want to buy something. And you don't want to have the buyer then to copy that digital coin and send the same coin to other people. Yeah? And that was basically the solution that Satoshi Nakamoto found. These are some of the projects that have been invented before. As you can see, it started already in 1990. A guy called David Chaum, a cryptographer, invented the use of private and public keys. And then in 1997, Hashcash was invented, which is proof of work. That's the mining mechanism of the Bitcoin blockchain. Then B-Money in 1998 was the first distributed network added to a digital money. And then we had BitGold in 1999, where Nick Szabo found out a way to decentralize the issuance of money, so that basically the new Bitcoin that are minted, that this is a decentralized solution and nobody is in charge of it, because humans always, when they get too much power, the first thing you see is fraud, looting, and things like that. And from there, one problem, it was only a paper. It was not really a working thing. It was just a prototype. And then Satoshi Nakamoto solved this double spending problem. So the technical foundations of Bitcoin come from different areas of science. The first is cryptography. As I said before, the use of public key cryptography and hash functions, which are needed for transparency and privacy in Bitcoin. Then so-called peer-to-peer networks, a decentralized network of equal peers, and so-called full nodes. What is a full node? A full node can be software only that you can install on your computer, or it can be a little device like that. That's a Raspberry Pi with a software on it called Raspiblitz. It's open source software. That's the HD, the disk there. I have a blockchain on this disk, meaning I have all transactions from the first transaction in 2009 on this device. And the software on this device is validating all the transactions, meaning I'm my own bank. That's like a bank, validating transactions. So full node is one of these little devices or a software running on this device or on a computer. Then we have incentives for miners, for the software and for the people who are collaboratively working on Bitcoin. It's a social consensus, meaning all people who are either using a wallet on their phone or running this software on their laptop, they are basically agreeing on the rules of the network together. And if we were to say all Bitcoin users globally want to change the code, then this would be possible. So it's basically not hierarchical. There's no hierarchy. Nobody can say, I want to change the code now. Won't work, because you need the agreement of all people in the network. And then we have the blockchain, which actually was called Time Chain by Satoshi Nakamoto. And that's the database, which is, for instance, on that disk, where you have all Bitcoin transactions from 2009 in the correct chronological order. And that is important so that you can't change transactions, you know, that you can't forge transactions or make them, reverse them, you know. Because if I send you money, you don't want somebody else to reverse that transaction, of course, because it's your money then. So I made a scheme of a blockchain to understand a little bit more of it. So that's, for instance, the first block. It has a block number, it has data in it, the transactions, and it has a so-called hash. And when miners mine Bitcoin and mine transactions into the blockchain, every 10 minutes approximately, a new block gets added with new transactions. And these blocks then are chained together cryptographically by the hash of this data set. So you have this hash then in the next block, and this block, the result, he has his own hash again, which is then chained together in the next block. this is the same hash as this one. And this means if you were to change a transaction in block number 2, block number 3 is at the same time not valid anymore. So, and that's why it's so difficult to change the blockchain, the chains in the block and the transactions, because it would need a lot of electricity to change that. And I said before, all transactions are in the blockchain. And there's another point in the meaning of decentralization, and it is that thing that really people like me, also like you could have that at home and run it and be a part of the Bitcoin network. So Bitcoin is decentralized because many people, thousands of people all around the world, have copies of the blockchain, identical copies, meaning you can't attack Bitcoin because you don't have a single point of attack. Like a company like Google or Facebook or your banks, hackers can attack the banks because they know there are maybe 10 servers or whatever that belong to the bank, and if you attack them and you are successful, you successfully attacked them. But if you do that with this one computer, you still have thousands of others who keep the system secure. So a short, I hope it's not too much, but a short thing about Bitcoin mining. What is that in general? So the Bitcoin miners, the software on these machines, they check transactions if they fulfill the requirements of the network. Meaning as soon as you send a Bitcoin transaction from your wallet to me, it gets into the internet, and there the Bitcoin miners collect these transactions and put it into one of those blocks. And when one of these data blocks is filled, they start to mine. And mining means the computer runs a program solving a mathematical problem. And the first miner who solves that mathematical problem is allowed to put the block, like we saw it before, on the chain. And all the other full nodes, these, they confirm this block. They check back, basically. And only if they say, okay, this miner, this block, this transaction fulfills all the rules we have in the network, then the miner who won this block gets 6.25 Bitcoin as a reward. And these are the new, this is the issuance of Bitcoin, how new Bitcoin get into the system. You might have heard that Bitcoin only ever will have 21 million Bitcoin, units of Bitcoin. And that's why we say Bitcoin is not inflatable, meaning it's not like the central bank, which can print more kwacha. In Bitcoin, 21 million is the maximum amount. There will never be more. And this is basically a rule in the network, in the software, that says every 210,000 blocks, make the reward half, cut the reward in half. So in 1 or 2 years, no, I think it's next year, miners will then only get 3.75 Bitcoin or something. What's the half? No, 3.1. Say it again? Yes, thank you. Block, Bitcoin per block. And that is this curve. So it means in 2140, no more new Bitcoin will be mined. Then we have this 21 million Bitcoin. But it doesn't mean that Bitcoin mining stops, because mining is the process that secures the Bitcoin blockchain. It secures the whole network. It secures all the money that's on the blockchain. Bitcoin is like the internet. It's a good for everyone. It's a common good. Bitcoin doesn't belong to anyone. There is no company behind, no corporate structure, no government. it's the people who made Bitcoin, and it's also a grassroots movement. And so we can compare it a little bit with the internet, where we have a general protocol layer, which is basically TCP/IP. That's the blockchain. On top of that, we have, for instance, the SMTP protocol for sending email. That's the Bitcoin protocol for transferring the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. And on top of that, we have software like Gmail or Outlook that we are using. These are the applications we use. And there we could say the application is Bitcoin, the money Bitcoin. And now we have got something like the Lightning Network, which is a so-called second layer protocol. And the Lightning Network enables us to send micropayments. You can send 10 kwacha in Bitcoin now, almost for free, or actually really for free. I sent a Lightning transaction the other day from Zimbabwe, from the Eastern Highlands to South Africa. It was there in seconds, and I could send $4, which you can't do with the other systems because they have minimum transaction limits from $10. And I paid for this value of $4 that I sent, I paid $0.00095. So less than a cent, much less than a cent. So the most important properties of Bitcoin are it's permissionless, meaning you don't need to ask anyone to be able to use it. You don't need someone who says, okay, come to me, pay me a starter package, I help you to join Bitcoin. You don't need that. And I will show you how you can access Bitcoin afterwards. It's transparent, meaning the transactions on the blockchain can be traced, they can be connected together. But as long as you don't buy at an exchange where you have to show your ID, then nobody can connect your identity with your Bitcoin transactions. And you also don't need an ID. Did I already say that? Yes, I did. It's non-inflatable, meaning what I said before, only 21 million will ever exist. There's this consensus. I was talking about this before. We all need to agree on how Bitcoin, the software, is working. It's neutral, meaning every one of you can send a transaction, and there's not a system that says, okay, if the president is sending a transaction, we can send it faster or cheaper. It's not possible. Everyone has the same right on this network. And it also doesn't make a difference between this guy is buying a motorcycle and he shouldn't do that because he has a bad reputation as a driver, and somebody could stop that payment, you know. The network doesn't decide if a payment is good in a sense or it's a bad payment for bad things. It's borderless, meaning you can very easily send money from Lusaka to New York, or to Cape Town, or Nairobi, wherever. It doesn't matter. And the transaction fees are not depending on how high the amount is, or how far you send it, and also the speed, like the time it arrives, doesn't have anything to do with how many borders you have to pass or anything like that. It's decentralized, as I said before. Everyone who is running that software on their computer is part of the network. And it's censorship resistant, meaning maybe if you are a human rights activist or you are part of a group that's marginalized in your country, then sometimes, or you are part of the opposition or something like that, then it happens sometimes that central banks shut down your account, like it happened to the Nigerian Feminist Coalition, for instance, and then they started using Bitcoin, and they could collect money again in Bitcoin and go along ahead with their protests. Then, yeah, there's a lot of talk about the price of Bitcoin, the value. Can you be rich in a year? Trading Bitcoin is a thing I hear very often here. People, the first thing they ask me is about how to trade or how to join. And I always say, you can't join because you don't have to join. It's an open network. And there are also a lot of scams who promise you that you double your money in 3 months or so. These are all scams. Please don't do that. Yeah. Whenever you think, yeah, that could be a chance, I ask my mother, my brother, whoever, to give all our money to this guy. Please first reach out to me or to Emmanuel and ask if this is not a scam. So, the Bitcoin price, that is 2017, and I started here because before, like from 29 to 2017, the price of Bitcoin, or its value, was very, very low because nobody knew it, nobody cared about it in a way. And then in 2017, basically, funny, that was the time when I discovered Bitcoin and when I started learning about it and educating myself. And then there was the first bull market where the price reached $19,000 for 1 Bitcoin. And in the years in between, we had a long bear market. Bear market is when the price is down, nobody has interest in it, and that's actually the best time to learn about it and to build stuff. Because like in 2020, with the COVID pandemic, price went up, and you see there's a lot of volatility. It always goes up and down. And after $69,000 per Bitcoin at the end of last year, we are now down again at $20,000 per Bitcoin, which is great if you want to start saving in Bitcoin. But be aware of that. It will go like that in the future. So you have to think long term if you want to save in Bitcoin. So either you think long term and say, okay, I have 50 kwacha, I don't need those in the next 5 years. Then you can change it into Bitcoin and hold it 5 years. But if you say, no, I need my money, then I would rather use it like if somebody sends it to you and you use it immediately, you know. This is the Bitcoin price on a logarithmic scale starting in 2009 when it was 0. Looks quite different, and it shows that the value in principle always was going up. But I don't want to promise anything. As I said, I would be a scammer if I would say it will go up, up, up. But it has utility to send it globally permissionless. So you can use fractions of a Bitcoin. That's why I said you can even buy Bitcoin in value of 50 kwacha. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. Nobody can do that, like $20,000. 1 Bitcoin is 100 million Satoshis. And when you are transacting with Bitcoin, you will hear that over and over, send me 1,000 Satoshis or something. That's the smallest, like, I don't know when I did that, but 2,000 Satoshis were $1 back in that days. So you use your phone to send and receive and hold Bitcoin. That's the easiest method where you don't need any other devices. And you can use so-called open sourced wallets, meaning their code is open. Every developer can take a look at the code and check if it's correct. And non-custodial means you are the owner of your Bitcoin if you use these wallets and if you write down your password, your seed. So there is the Moon wallet, M-U-U-N, the Blue wallet, like Blue Wallet, and Breeze. Breeze is a special one because you can also listen to podcasts with it. So this is a Bitcoin address. If you have a wallet like that, you can basically press receive and it shows you a Bitcoin address. And the other person scans this address and can send Bitcoin to you. And that's basically the whole miracle about Bitcoin. But just to explain what that means, a wallet. A Bitcoin wallet is basically like a public deposit box where everyone can send Bitcoin to you. And you have a lot of Bitcoin addresses. You saw the QR code first. And all these addresses are like different deposit boxes in the whole box. And with the so-called private key, only you, the owner, can open the lock to that deposit box. And the seed, which I was talking about before, is basically the key to all the boxes. And that's why it's so important to keep the seed secure. And in general, for Bitcoin, the seed is 12 to 24 English words in a given order. So your wallet shows you words like that in a given order, and you have to write it down on a sheet of paper. Don't save it on your computer or your phone. Put it on a piece of paper and keep that very secure, because it will always give you access to your Bitcoin. Even if you lose your phone, or if it gets corrupted, or you just want to change to a new phone, then you install the wallet again, put in your words, and then your money is there again. That's also a possibility. You basically can cross borders without a smartphone, only with these words in your head. And on the other side, in the other country, you get yourself a phone and you have access to all your money again. You can't do that with a banking account or your mobile money. So that's why we say not your keys, not your coins. If you don't have your keys, someone else could take your Bitcoin or freeze access to it. And that's why I call it the 3 steps to financial sovereignty, meaning on the base layer level, you're a pre-coiner, you might not have Bitcoin. You have never used it maybe. And on the next step, people go to Yellowcard or to Binance to buy Bitcoin there. Then they have a wallet at those companies, which is more like a bank account than your own Bitcoin, because those companies could still freeze your accounts. So where we want to be is on that level, your keys, your coins. And that's what the Moon Wallet and the Blue Wallet enable you to do. You're the sole owner of your Bitcoin. And then on top of that, you are the owner of software on your computer, of such a device, with which you are your node. You are part of the system, and you validate the network rules yourself on your machine at home. So you don't even need a company like Binance or Yellowcard to tell you how many Bitcoin you have. And that's what is meant when you see maybe those memes on the internet about Bitcoin. Don't just verify, you are your own bank. That's what that means. So there are other possibilities to store your Bitcoin. If you own like more money, then you want to be more secure, and you can use so-called hardware wallets, which are basically signing devices with which you can send and receive Bitcoin, and they are never connected to the internet. And that's what makes them more secure than your phone, because your phone is connected to the internet, and a hacker could come and like intrude your phone. Okay, what can you do with Bitcoin? How can you earn Bitcoin? Because I think that's an interesting possibility. How many minutes do we have? 15? Okay. So for instance, it's possible with software called BTC Pay Server. It's a free software for everyone to use. If you're a developer, you can use it on your website, where you can collect donations in Bitcoin. It's like I said before, the Nigerian Feminist Coalition was using this system. Or also in the Ukraine, the opposition party leader who is in jail, they use it to receive donations. This is that software, it's called BTC Pay, and it can receive Bitcoin and Lightning. Then you can do a donation campaign on a website called giza.fund. This is Paco. He has been in Zambia a few weeks ago at our meetup. And you can have a campaign site with them, and ask for donations for your project. It's like Kickstarter. I don't know if you know Kickstarter here. So startups or people who have ideas for new projects, they do crowdfunding campaigns to earn the first money for their first product. An easy method to earn donations is tippin.me or telecon.in, where you can set up your own donation widget and put it on your website. If you, for instance, have a cafe or you sell things in an informal shop on the street, you could use Breeze, because Breeze allows you to have a point of sale. You can put in products, like one coffee is, I don't know, 5 kwacha, or I don't know how much. And then you show that to the customer, and they can pay you. How can you get Bitcoin in another way than Yellow Card or so? If you have family abroad, for instance, in South Africa or in the UK, they can buy an Azteco voucher for their local currency, send you the code of the voucher, and you can go to their website and redeem the Bitcoin to your wallet. Another method to, if you are building content on the internet, say you have a blog or you're doing PDFs or you do YouTube, you have a YouTube channel and you want to earn some Bitcoin with that, then you can get a Lightning address. It looks like an email address, but it's possible for me to take this Lightning address, put it into my wallet, and send you Lightning, and you receive it in your wallet. So I see the address next to your YouTube channel. I think, oh, he's making great content, great video, and I just need to put that into my wallet and can send you money. Podcasting, any podcasters here? No? So, but you could start a podcast and earn Bitcoin with it. It's possible to earn Bitcoin from listeners who have Breeze installed on their phones, listen to the podcast, and every minute they send you 10 Satoshis. And if they like it, you can send you even more, and can you also send you a message, a personal message. Then, you know, you're all using Facebook, I guess, or Gmail or things like that. So a central company has your login data. You have to put in an email address and a password. Somebody can steal that, or the company can lose it, or whatever. Now it's even possible with Lightning to build login possibilities for websites, meaning you use your Lightning wallet to log into a site, and the data belongs to you. So the company on the other side with the login, they can never see your password. Your password can't be hacked because it's a Lightning enabled login. So these are technologies that don't have so much to do with money, but with decentralization of the internet. You can also play to earn Satoshis. There's a company called Thunder Games, and they have games like Bitcoin Bounce or like racing, car racing, where you can earn Satoshis and redeem it directly into your Blue Wallet. If you are a developer or a marketing person or a UX designer or whatever, and you want to have a job in the Bitcoin space, there's a website called Bitcoiner Jobs, and a lot of those jobs are also possible to do them remotely. Yeah, that was it. So we have 7 minutes left. Who would like to install a wallet on her phone? I send you some Satoshis. Okay, then maybe just start. Go into your Play Store, I guess it is.